What's going on? What's going on? You already know what time it is. I apologize about the sound if you guys didn't hear me. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button for us. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the Chargers and the Falcons today. Not much really to dive into because we dove into it on Thursday, but one of the facts that I didn't put out this week was the Chargers literally they have the fewest giveaways in the league. So in other words, they really don't turn the ball over. So when you look at this is a team that's dangerous. This is a team that actually has an offense. Now they don't have their starting running back today. So look for a lot of play action today, and pretty much the guys being in a situation to where Jim Harbaugh is going to try to protect his defense. Like I said, they're a solid team. They're a team that could cause us problems if we're not disciplined when it comes to coverage, tackling, and being able to have assignments. Today, you got to establish the run against this defense. We've got to control the time of possession. There are many things that we have to do today to just open this thing up because, again, the last thing we need to do is give the Buccaneers an open invite to really be on us to where they can be in the first place of the division, even if we got the tie. You don't want them to be in a position to where that easy part of the schedule is literally going to put them in a position to where they could be dangerous within the future. So at this point, it's just like, wow. All you can do is just sit back and say, well, damn, Atlanta has a chance to continue to change the trajectory of how these past couple of weeks have gone. They've had a week to sit on it. They've had a week to think on it and marinate on it. And they had time to let guys get healthy. Now, we'll see if Darnell Mooney, if Drake London coming off their hip pointer, if these guys are going to be effective. If not, you've got to go with Kadero Hodge today. Hodge is definitely a guy that can take the top off of a defense if Mooney is down. When you talk about the speed, 4.3 speed, solid blocker, good route runner, and a guy that we can use. But one of the other things that I think that's going to be key for us today is special teams. A lot of people don't talk about the third portion of the game. That is going to be something that is going to determine a lot of the game when it comes to our defense, because field position is going to be key today. So Bradley Pena's got to be able to put these guys in a position to where they can defend a longer field. Other than that, we've got to be able to get off the field in 3 downs, 3 and outs. We got to be able to stop this team from moving the chains. They're able to move the chains. They're very competent. They have a gentleman that is in charge of this team who literally is in the same position as he once was when he was with the 49ers. The one thing about Jim Harbaugh, all his teams, they're going to run the ball. They're going to have a lot of play action. So when you look at this, the linebackers have to be disciplined today in what they see, and not just in what they see, also pretty much how they're going to attack. It's definitely a game that is winnable, but this is a game they must have because it doesn't get any easier. You get the Chargers. If you get the Chargers and you beat them, you have Minnesota coming up. You got Washington coming up. And then you got the Giants. Giants just got beat by the Cowboys. But again, we've springboarded a 2-7 New Orleans team this year. So when you look at it, it's just one of these things where you just sit back and say, all right, how do you figure out how to execute better when it comes to play calling? How do you figure out how do you put your team in a situation to where they're not just executing, they're also putting themselves in a position to win ball games and to close out ball games. The one thing we got to do, no slow starts today. If we have any slow starts today, that is going to cause a lot of problems. A lot of problems. You've got to be able to not only control the clock, but you got to be able to jump out fast. If you jump out fast, score, hit them in the mouth early, and then you continue to keep the pressure on them, they will fold. They will fold. But it's up to our offensive coordinator to put this offense in a position to continue to have momentum on drives. Kirk Cousins, you got to lock in. You can't lock on to just one receiver. You're going to have to scan the field a little bit better this week. You also have to get the running game going. Set up play action. Kirk is healthy. Guess what? Kirk made his money off of play action. The reason why all the franchises have paid him has been due to the fact that he's been able to open things up. No, he's not a runner, but he's able to move around in the pocket and make it hard for a 300-pound man to get his hands on it, period. So when you look at this, you got to shorten the routes in this game. You've got to start getting Kyle Pitts involved a little bit more. You know, Roddy White sent out a tweet this week pretty much talking about Brock Bowers is the best tight end in the league for obvious reasons, but yet and still people want to talk about the two quarterbacks that we had. Brock's not making an excuse. Brock is just putting up numbers, and Brock is on pace to break the rookie tight end record, and he's on trajectory to do what Kyle Pitts has not done. Kyle had Matt Ryan. He was forced into a situation, but before he got hurt, I get it. There were ways that he was not used. That goes with the offensive coordinator. They used him wrong. But at the same time, I don't care about the excuses at this point. Brock Bowers is a rookie that's in the league that's balling. Man is close to 1,000 yards already. So Roddy White put that tweet out this week. You can go to his page. He talked about it. Roddy has been known to be a little bit of a loose cannon when it comes to certain things. And some of the opinions you sit back and look like, really? But in this situation, he's absolutely right. There should be no excuse on why the Falcons are not able to use this guy. And the more time that goes by, the excuses are getting heavier and heavier. So I'm at the point like this. I don't give a damn about the excuses. If he ain't producing, he ain't producing, period. Regardless if it's schemed, regardless of this, when you get your opportunities, you got to take it and run with it. No excuses. So that's where I'm at with it. Roddy White put that out there. The other thing we're going to talk about a little bit today, outside of just going over some of the topics, I think that you got to start looking at possibly next year with this situation with Kirk Cousins and Penix. Kirk, that's $180 million we spent. We're seeing in the newspapers, they're saying, oh, well, a landing spot for Kirk would be Miami. And you're talking about trading him away, but they just paid Tua Tagovailoa that money. This has been in the works. They've talked about it. But it's like, why would we spend $180 million on a quarterback? I know we can backdoor out of the deal on the third year, which would be smart to do. But why would you try to back out of it in the second year? You're going to get a huge cap hit. Makes no sense. But if they decide to do that and they want to play with Penix or whatnot, hey, it is what it is. But at this point, Kirk is our quarterback. No matter how you look at it, the only way that that's going to happen if Penix gets in is if Kirk goes down. And I'm knocking on wood because the last thing we need is him going down. That would be $180 million wasted. So we've heard chatter about it. And it's just one of these things where you sit back and you're like, you can't just put yourself in a position to just take this man out and just throw the kid in there. He's learning. Penix is learning right now. And I'm not taking a chance with my rookie quarterback with his blind side on that right side of that line, or on the right side of the line, because he's left-handed quarterback on that right side of that line with McGarry and company. You subject him to a hospital bed at Piedmont or possibly even Grady if the trauma is bad enough. So when you look at it, don't put your franchise quarterback in harm's way. There's no need to rush this kid out here. I know the fan base is frustrated and everything else, but most people aren't thinking with common sense. They feel like, oh, well, here we put him in, all our problems are solved. No, your problems aren't solved. you're getting ready to create a problem when you talk about your quarterback going in and his blind side is not protected. So, fan base, family, however y'all want to put it, right now, let the kid sit, let the kid learn, let him get in the weight room, let him. Everyone's like, oh, well, he's been like, listen, the man has had an injury history in college. You want him to have as much time off to not have as much wear and tear on him, and you want him to build his body up strong, because if he's gonna come in and he's got to deal with that blind side, he's gonna get hit a lot. So at this point, it's just like, hey, only thing you can do is hope that this organization and this regime is smart enough to understand we need to start drafting guys on the right side. You got to start protecting Kirk's blind side. You've got to start putting him in a position to where he can actually do a few things. So at this point, I'm not looking to get Penix out there yet, unless it's a dire emergency. And that dire emergency is Kirk getting wheeled off. Don't want it to happen, but that's the only way I want to see Penix on the field. Other than that, no. Let him sit. Let him learn. Let him know the system. Let him know how to operate it. Because when he gets in and he takes over, he's pretty much the man. He was a first-round draft pick, and it's gonna be pretty much all gas, no brakes, because you were mentored. So what I'm getting ready to do, I'm getting ready to open this thing up to the fans and whatnot, as we always do. Just wanted to have a little chirp about the Falcons' upcoming game. We can talk a little bit about the Falcons today. We can talk about this weekend's college rivalries on top of that as well. But we're all getting ready for this Chargers game. But it was so many things that went on football-wise this weekend. All you can do is just sit back and just say, man, it's been a hell of a year, whether it's been the NFL or whether it's been college. So I pretty much have the chat. I pretty much have the link in the chat for you guys right now. It's pinned to the top on YouTube. I'm getting ready to pass it off in the Twitter space. X is we would call it, but Twitter for some of you folks. But I'm actually going to try to put this out here for you guys so you can come in here, talk about what you're concerned about, talk about what you like, you dislike, and also what would you like to see today out of the Falcons or whatnot. Like I said, this is a show that we have for the fans in a sense, and we just want you guys to have your opinions heard. This is what we do. So I just pretty much just put the links out there. Y'all come on in, let's chop it up, and let's get ready for this game today. But while we're waiting, there's some other news that we have with the Atlanta Falcons. So the Atlanta Falcons have helped students, and I promote HBCUs here on this show heavy. Doesn't matter. I promote them heavy on this show. The Atlanta Falcons have helped students with the Rise Up New Fellowship. Pretty much what that does in this point, and what that does is you're landing a job after graduation and you're getting opportunities to work for the organization just to get your career started. This is one of the best things that they've started with internships, outside of internships, paying jobs. And when you look at it, it's so many young folks that get out of college, that graduate, that don't have opportunities to go to college. They don't. To get a job. They already graduate college. They don't have many opportunities to get a job right off the bat. See, the hard part is, as we always say, it's tough getting into college. It's tough getting through college and graduating. Once you get through, the hard part starts because you have the real world that you have to deal with. Because you have qualifications does not mean that you're going to have those doors open. What's up, Artavius? Doesn't mean you're going to have those doors open right off the bat. But what the Falcons are doing right now, the way they're helping students and helping out with initiatives, they are trying to help out with collaborations with philanthropy and community impact at Wells Fargo. And it's a lot of great things that come with it. They're trying to set them up, not just with the Falcons, but also with other organizations that are around the city of Atlanta. So they're really trying to help kids get jobs coming out of college. With the way the economy is and how high everything is, from groceries to gas to you name it, everything's up through the roof. You want to get kids to have pretty much have a great start. And the Atlanta Falcons are doing that, which I think is amazing. And I think it's an awesome opportunity for these young folks to really have a chance to pretty much step into the workforce and have money put in their pockets and get experience right off the bat. So shout out to the Atlanta Falcons organization for that. They're doing a damn thing. But like I said, I opened this thing up for the fans to come through. Definitely, if you see the link or whatnot, you want to come in and chop it up, you can. But like I said, we have so many other things that we can also talk about today concerning the Falcons and the Chargers today. So the other thing that we're going to talk about today is, can the Falcons afford to fall today? Because Tampa's playing the Carolina Panthers at this point. The Carolina Panthers are finding a second wind right now. No, they're not a good team, but they're starting to learn how to play together, and they're finding their win. When you talk about them finding their win at this point, they're able to become more competitive in ball games than they once were. Bryce Young is back on the field. Bryce Young is definitely going to be their franchise quarterback, even with the struggles that he has gone through already. He's definitely someone that's dangerous once you give him weapons. And with him learning how to use his weapons, it's really a dangerous thing. And when we play them at the end of the season, it's going to be a war. It's not going to be a gimme as a lot of us thought it was going to be, like when we beat them earlier this year. It's not going to be a gimme. It's going to be a game where it's going to go back and forth. The question is, do we have the intestinal fortitude to survive that game and handle business? Because we gave up the game to the Aints. And at this point, what you have to do now is, you've had a time off. You've been hit in the mouth twice. You've had time to sit back, pretty much marinate on it, and you've had time to figure out how to fix it. I'm going to keep it simple for you folks. Do not change what works. If the running play is working and they can't stop it, run it until they can't stop it anymore. Seriously. There's no need to change up. If your screen game is working and they can't stop it, run it until they stop it. If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. I'm keeping it simple. Zach Robinson has to understand. I'm not saying call the same play over and over, but you have to learn how to capitalize on momentum. That is something, as a young coach, you should already know. From being an assistant coach, watching how games are pretty much run, you've got to have consistency. If you don't have consistency with being able to use your momentum, you're going to lose ball games. Because, again, momentum is something that will keep you, pretty much you're keeping your foot on the gas and you're keeping pressure on your opposition. We have yet to do that. Defense, the thing that we have to start doing, no, we don't have a pass rush. We got to start creating different types of packages and exotic blitzes. Hopefully they did, and they did during the bye week, which I highly doubt. But you've got to start bringing cat blitzes, corner blitzes, safety blitzes. You're going to have to start trying to bring in other pieces to make things happen, because your secondary really is the strength of this defense. And they've been getting cooked the last couple of weeks. So at this point, what you must do, you've got to put yourself in a spot to where you're creating a lot of exotic looks, so you're not basically figured out. You know, Jimmy Lake, you got to play a lot. You got to play a little bit more press man coverage. I'm with you on that, Rich. Hey, the link's in the chat if y'all want to come through, man. I already posted it or whatnot. But you've got to play press man coverage. You giving up 5 yards is really giving up half a first down every time you play 6 yards off. You're giving them 3 to 4 yards if they can break off their route and use their athleticism to get to the sticks, or at least get to the point to where they can average first downs. You've got to be a little bit better at what you're doing. Period. You've got to scheme your secondary in a position to where they can succeed, because you don't have a pass rush. You don't have linebackers that can cover. You know that they're downhill guys that are going to go. So the only way that you can actually make this work is if you're not so stubborn and not so prideful to make these changes. You have guys who can cover. Now, the question is, speaking of covering, my question for you is today, folks, are we going to see DeMarco Hellams today? We're going to get a small sample size of DeMarco today to really balance out this defense. Because when he was here and before Dorlus got hurt, you saw a lot of things that were going on, and it was just like, well, damn, they might have something here. So when you look at it, it's one of these things. I look at Jimmy Blake needing to put this defensive secondary in position to make plays because, again, strongest part of our defense, if the linebackers can't cover, you've got to start creating things to make it to where a quarterback doesn't have time to pick you apart. The safeties and corners on blitzes. Got to start using your speed. Got to start using what you have. You have speed on defense. Start using speed to throw off the timing and the rhythm of these routes for these quarterbacks. Make them check down to their hot reads. Put your linebackers to be able to make plays when guys are getting plays underneath. What's up, Rich?
Man, what's going on? Man, you know what I've been thinking about the whole offseason.
What's happening?
It's really not as difficult of a fix as they're making it. Because I posted it on Twitter, like, now y'all just getting on my nerves. Because at this point, right, I'm going to tell you why I say this. At this point, like you always say, like you always preach, we got two of the best safeties in the league. So at this point in the season, I'm going too high safety, playing press man on the line, and keeping my cornerbacks on their ass. Excuse my language.
You good.
But keeping my cornerbacks press man from until they stop it. Until, I'm going to disguise it a lot. But the simple base that I might just run in this game is if they beat it, they just beat it. But 9 times out of 10, the quarterback not even finna try them to.
Even Pat Mahomes was shook to try those boys.
And they was in cover 3 when he was shook to try. They weren't even in too high. So at this point, that one covers, and I know you got some cover 2 inside of that, what you run, because I've seen it. You just play it here and there. You'll play it, it'll work. That's what's stupid. You will play a piece of your scheme, it'll work, and you will stop, and then you'll put them. When you put them on the line, you see the difference, even in Onyemata and Grady. And people keep saying, what's the difference between last year and this year? At this point, it's not even a scheme. It's just play some of that press man that you have inside of your zone scheme, if that's the case. Just quit keeping them off the ball. You keeping the whole team off the ball, not just the cornerbacks and the safeties and the linebackers. You're keeping the D-line off the ball because you keeping everybody back. So you're putting more pressure on your D-line, and they thinking too much because they don't want to mess up, because they, in their mind, they know everybody is already 5 and 10 yards off the ball. So everything underneath, if you play me like that as a coach and you're coaching on the other side and that's all you're going to do all day, all I'm worried about is 5 yards underneath, run for 5 yards. 5 yards underneath, run for 5. You see what I'm saying? It's simple to play against that. Then on top of it, you're not even disguising it. Nope. You're just going straight from your base to just that. You're not even, it's almost like you're not letting Jesse Bates do his job from last year. Like how Jesse Bates would call an audible on the defense. You don't see that too much. You don't see the defense shifting and linebackers moving, not too much. You see it a little bit, but when they do it, they have success. But then you go right back to putting them. So it's really
what that was like, Rich.
What?
Rich, that was like us having, everybody got used to last year. You pretty much had ribeye steaks. When you talk about that defense, you had ribeyes, you had tomahawks, you had all types of cuts of good beef. You know what I'm saying, for meals. Guess what? When you bring in Jimmy Lake and the way he's called this defense and the way he's gutted it, you've downgraded us all the way to Vienna sausages and crackers. And there's nothing wrong with having that because I grew up eating it. But at the same time, when I've had steak, when I've had ground round roast, I'm talking about top of the line prime rib, when I've had this and know what my defense is capable of, and then you downgrade us the way that you have this year, it's a problem.
And
it is a serious problem.
And that's why I wasn't trying to hear what Raheem was talking about with Judon, because obviously you missing the point too, because even without Judon, you see, this how I look at it. This why I said press man can save everybody from jumping down his neck, because it'd be different if one or two players regressed on the team. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But you gonna tell me the whole D-line done digressed? From Onyemata to Grady to Goldman to everybody? Come on, man. You know what that is.
It's just unfathomable that this defense has regressed as much as they have this year. It's unfathomable because at this point, all you can do is just sit back and say, well, what the hell are you doing? Why are you running this? You know what you have. If you know that things are strong, you need to make this thing work. So, all I can say is I just need to see some changes, bro. And hopefully we do before this season is over with, because again, the Falcons season today, and I hate to use this term, today is the game that's going to decide the rest of the season. Because this is a game that they have to have, because that Minnesota game and that Washington game are going to be wars. And if you come out half-assed and
I'm going to be honest, they better start sleeping on Carolina too after the game I saw.
I said, you heard what I said this before you came in.
Better start sleeping on them, boy, because they may call Steve Wilkes back. And I'm just telling you what's really going on. They may do.
Exactly. And then you got Bryce Young figuring things out now, and Xavier Legette coming in balling now. And I'm just like,
and I'm going to tell you what's going to be even more dangerous for next year. I'm going to tell you what I see. I almost see Carolina calling Steve Wilkes back, and I see the Saints calling Ryan Nielsen back. I'm just being honest. And if I'm a smart organization, let me at least shake the tree and see what falls. You see what I'm saying?
Again.
And if that happens, you're going to want to be on your A game. I'm telling you now.
What if I told you it's the same thing that's going on with the Dogs right now? We said this here with Kirby Smart and Mike Bobo. You bringing in your best. At least when he had Muschamp in, the Dogs was nice with it. You know what I'm saying? Defensively, because Coach Boom is a hell of a D coordinator. But Bobo, yeah, he averaged 40-some points a game, but in the big games that matter, let's be honest, he hasn't showed up. Saturday night, they went into 8 overtimes. It should have never, and it wasn't on him. I got to blame that on my defensive coordinator for literally calling a crappy game plan the whole game. And then, because you know what the joke was, Rich? Before I let you get there, I literally said on my Twitter, on my X page, I said, is Jimmy Lake in Athens tonight? Because I said, this right here is nothing. I said, this is literally looking like the Falcons right now. Those first 3 quarters of that ball game, the Dogs look like the Falcons did in the past 2 weeks we've had.
Because you went and slept on Georgia Tech, because like I told folks,
it was a war.
Obviously, y'all ain't watched no Georgia Tech games this year because they quarterback is a dog.
I have. Philo, and his thing, Haynes King ain't the best quarterback. It's Philo. It's the backup. They didn't burn his red shirt. I know
it. You really would rather prefer to have the quarterback they had out there than the one that's behind them. But he a dog too.
But think about it, and I'm bringing it back to the Falcons or whatnot. And the reason I say that is because you're seeing nepotism, and it's always going to be nepotism around, but you're seeing the negative effects of nepotism on each level right now. You're seeing that. You bring in your boy or whatnot, and you're seeing that he's hurting your product right now and could cost you your job. You're seeing this. And until you put yourself in a situation to where it's like, okay, Kirby's safe because he got championships. He's safe because of that. But Raheem, brother, you ain't safe.
But then the thing about it is, you really have a chance to get behind it because nobody's blaming you yet.
Exactly.
They're still blaming Jimmy Lake. Nobody.
Oh no, I've already started blaming him. I'm already on that.
What I mean is, like, if you go on Twitter and just read
the national media,
media not blaming you yet.
Not yet.
But if you go through another game or two, and it looked like what we seen before the bye, then you're gonna come into question. So it's best that you get behind it now, because if you don't get behind it now, then the spotlight gonna be on you. You could really save your whole everything. Not saying that Arthur Smith Blank gonna get rid of you, because he's not that type of guy. Plus, it's your first year, but it's just gonna leave a bad taste in fans' mouth. So what you're trying to build, one thing that I did notice being in that stadium, Falcon fans showing up this year. Don't let the media fool y'all. I'm telling y'all what I know from being at these games. They actually showing up.
They showing up right now, but let's be honest, because we know how fickle our fan base is. They'll turn on him real quick if it continues to be the way that it is.
But they're showing. But see, that's what I mean. Why he need to get behind it, because the fans are showing up. And you know how long it's been since I really haven't even seen that stadium like that since they built.
2017 was the last year that I saw the stadium
really
like it is right now. 2017. And we ended up going to the playoffs that year.
But see, that's the thing. You haven't even won a playoff game yet. So get behind the defense now. Your season ain't over with, but in a way,
you're like at a crossroads right now.
You got to get behind this right now. If I come out and I see you fire 10 yards off the ball, I know you ain't learned your lesson, and it's just going to be, at this point, I'm going to put it on Raheem, because ain't no way you should come out being 5 yards and 10 yards off the ball when we just seen y'all do that for the last, 9 games, 10 games, and it didn't work. So,
because think about it.
That's just like with the Georgia coverage. Game. Everybody think that right around the fourth quarter is when Kirby started calling the game, which that's how I used
it wasn't no thing. I'm gonna tell you what it is. It wasn't no thing he did. He, as we say in the military, I'm relieving you of your duties. Guess what? He relieved Glenn Schumann of his duties in that, and Kirby called that. Kirby pretty much called the fourth quarter, the middle of the fourth quarter, all the way to those 8 overtimes. He called that. He called that defensively. Guess what? Raheem needs to relieve Jimmy Lake in a game. Not as a slight, but it's the fact that, hey, our season's still on the line. We got Tampa creeping up at this point. We have no lead. We only got a 1-game cushion. We need to keep that and add on to that. We need to get through the last few games this year to handle business.
Sent us a message.
Yeah,
on Twitter, they players sent us a message. They on the way.
Shots was fired. I said this on Thursday night in the show, and it's in the promo. I said Tampa pretty much let us know shots was fired. Warning shots was fired. Yeah, they let us know that we're not going nowhere.
So come out playing if you want to. And my thing is the urgency. I need to see that. Yep. And sometimes don't let the offense come out first. Go on to get the defense out there, get them warmed up. Because you see, if you keep wanting to score first, and then when we don't go down the field, now we playing catch up, because usually the other team will at least get 3 out of it. So I think you need to start bring the defense on the field first, so you get the ball back after halftime sometime. Because most of our games, we let the other team get it back at halftime. So I think the coaching need to tighten up a little bit too, just all the way around the board. Because what I think is the defensive players, they got tired of that scheme. That's why they started being lackadaisy. Because our defense ain't never, even when Nielsen was here, they weren't that lackadaisy.
No, but let's be real. If you want to talk about it, I really believe that how can I put it? I really believe that the defensive players are not playing for Jimmy Lake. I think it's just between us. It's just our opinion on this. It's doesn't reflect the Falcons. I believe they quit on it. If you really want to know
that last game, that's how I felt.
That was what I saw, because I said it was no way in hell that you've ever seen our defense, even when Arthur Smith was here, like literally just play like they did. They
And
gave
I
up on
watched.
him.
I'm gonna tell you what really made me think about that, because it was one play that I know for a fact. Cause they actually replayed it, but I don't think nobody caught it. If you go back and look at the game or look at the film, Jesse Bates let that man run right by him. He could have. He was right there. All he had to do was stick his arm out. So once I seen that, I'm like, that to me that looked like you quit, because I know how you play. You ain't letting nobody get back there on you like that. I literally watched you on a play let that man run by you. Just like with the offensive line, I literally watched Caleb McGarry stand to the side and let that man just go. I just feel like it's something going on as well. They need to tighten up. I just believe it's because you got two rookies. If you'd have had the rookie on offense and had like Steve Wilkes on defense, I think it'd have balanced itself out more. But when you have a rookie on offense and a rookie on defense, and the players play the game as well, so they can tell when the coach know what he doing. And I think it's just like you said, just my opinion, they gave up on him in that last game. I don't know what it's gonna be coming out to buy, but in them last couple quarters, I seen our defense just give up, bro. And I was just like,
Man, all you can do is just sit back and just wonder if they quit or whatnot. It's just like, what's gonna happen when push comes to shove and we get in a tight game at the end of the season? Do they want? Are they gonna play for Jimmy Lake, or are they gonna quit on him when it gets bad? Because eventually, it's gonna have to be replacements made. It's going to have to be replacements that are, somebody head got to roll. Or you got to pull out a pink slip, and you got to bring some folks in, because we spent money in this offseason bringing in players that were supposed to help boost this defense. But when you have mismanagement of talent on this defense, you're seeing the results of that.
and that's what I mean. Like that's why my final thought is that's why I feel like it's still more of coaching, because you can't tell me it's Grady Jerry on your model. Now he's sorry. Now Justin Simmons sorry. Now this person. It's the way you utilizing them. You never bring Simmons up in the box. Why not? They were bringing them up in the box with the Broncos. You see what I'm saying? Like you're not. I don't feel like you utilizing these people to their best talent, man. I believe you done, to me, you done sort of got like Arthur Smith, where it's like your way or the highway. And even though everybody see it's not working, you still trying to force it down the players' throats. That's why I said I felt like I seen them quit on them the last game. I'm
with you on
hoping
that,
we tighten
Nando.
that up, though.
Yeah, Jimmy doesn't have the locker room, and you can tell. The person that has that locker room, and I said, this is where Raheem's mistake was. You bring in your homeboy to be the DC, but you got a guy by the name of Jerry Gray in there who actually has the respect of that locker room, because they've gone through battles with this man already. They know how he thinks. And not just that, he can relate to these guys in a way that Jimmy Lake can. Jerry Gray was a first round pick. Jerry Gray was a starter his whole career, was a Pro Bowler in his career, was definitely a respected defensive coordinator in different places that he's gone. A respected position coach as a corner / safety coach, and everywhere he's coached, he's got Hall of Famers under him. So at this point, it's like, when are you gonna go ahead and listen to? When are you gonna go ahead and just listen to the old man in the locker room that's been here before, on the playing side of the field, and then also in the locker room, and understanding what these guys are thinking, understanding what these guys' mindsets are when you're in a game like this? This should be a game where you need to be leaning on Jerry Gray and say, hey, I know you've seen almost everything here. How do we combat and get these guys to be in a situation where they're going to perform, especially with everything on the line today? Because technically, let's be honest, you lose this game today and Tampa wins, you're going to be fighting for the rest of the year. That's what it's really going to be. You're going to be fighting for everything for the rest of the year, division and everything. And you can't sit there and think that everybody's going to go away. You got to have it today. You got to have a dub today. And at this point, it's got to be, how can I put it? It's got to be not just with the coaches. It's got to be with the players in this locker room. Yeah. Sometimes you might have to be a little bit defiant. Maybe, and here's the other thing, maybe they're thinking, okay, if we lose enough games and we don't win the division, guess what? He up out of here. And they might be thinking that, because that's human nature at some points. Because the way that guys play now is more about who guys are comfortable with, and it's all about their money. At this point, it's not a love of the game no more like that. It's business, bro.
And they want to win. So if you don't look like you can coach them to win, it's like even with Ryan Nielsen, that's what made me think maybe Jerry Gray was, because I know he was messing with the linebackers personally, but maybe Jerry Gray was calling the defensive line and the secondary, and he was handling more so the line. We don't really know, because we see what happened in that Jacksonville. So the common denominator out of all of this is Jerry Gray, because he already been with them 2 to 3 years. They gonna be familiar with him. So why would you put someone in front of him that has less football knowledge than he does? That might be the first barrier of why they don't. You get what I'm saying? You never really know with people. It's like, we know he know football. Why you put him before him if he just got fired? He didn't get fired. He got ran out of where he was, being the DC. They didn't even fire him. They ran him out of there. And they ain't like nothing.
They ran, and just think, Jimmy Lake was run out of Washington. Don't nobody talk about that. And the team that went to the national championship game, led by our future franchise quarterback, was led by Kalen DeBoer, for you Alabama fans out there that know. That was Jimmy Lake's team that ended up going to a national championship game, period. They fired him literally, and Kalen DeBoer wasn't even there a good 4 years, and they ended up going to a championship. Crazy to think about. But here's another thing that's going on today. I got the Falcons inactive list from our guy Daniel Flick. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up for y'all real quick. Daniel Flick is actually a reporter for the Falcons, so got him on X so you guys can actually see it. So today we pretty much have Mike Hughes is still out, Chase McClellan's out, JD Bertrand's out, Riley Patterson is out, Rashad Evans is out, and then you have Elijah Wilkinson and then Brandon Parker that is out today. As for and what that means is, with this kicker Riley Patterson being out, that means Younghoe Koo is going to be playing today. We just don't need him shaving points today. Period. Yeah. We need him to hit everything that's going to be within his range that he normally hits, and we need him to hit some stuff that's going to be short yardage. That I would say at this point, if they trust him enough, you take a chance on it. If you trust him enough. But if you don't trust him enough, you don't take a chance on it. But here's my other thing I've been saying. I need to see more Storm Norton at this point. I'm tired of, I get that I get McGarry's getting his money, but I got to see more Storm Norton at this point, because the offensive line is a hell of a lot different with Norton in that spot. If you pay attention to it, they flow a lot better. They can pass
a lot better.
Yep, and that takes a lot of pressure off Kirk. A lot of pressure off Kirk. Kirk has more time to survey the field. Kirk has more time to really try to get things working for this team. So I need to ask you something. I got to ask you something about this matchup today. Now, who do you feel is going to be the most dangerous player for the Chargers today?
You already know who I feel is going to be the most dangerous player for the Chargers. McConkey.
Ladd McConkey. Okay. You're saying Ladd McConkey. For me, I gotta go on defense or whatnot, man. And when you look at the defense or whatnot, it's, to me, I feel like that's gonna be the problem. I think the most dangerous player on that defense is gonna be the safety that came out of Florida State, my guy.
Yeah.
And all we can do is just sit back and laugh at this point, because it's just, how can I put it? Asante Samuel Jr. is going to be a problem on this defense. Big time for our passing game. And Derwin James. Those are going to be two of your best players on that defense. Khalil Mack is still there. Mack is pretty much still in a spot to where he can disrupt the game. Might not have the steps that he had, that he once had.
But he's still who he is.
But he's still who he is. And then you still got to think about it. We got another guy that's on this team that understands our defense, and he can break stuff down. And he understands our offensive line, our blocking scheme.
Who?
Bud Dupree.
Oh, that's
Bud Dupree is on that team with Joey Bosa as well. So you got Khalil Mack, Bud Dupree, and Joey Bosa that you're going to have to deal with. My breakout players are defensive players, bro. Those are my breakout players.
The only reason I said mine was Larry McCulley, because we in this soft zone, he gonna kill that. I've watched him play that zone, and he eat that alive, because he knows he's a real receiver that knows where to be, and that's what scares me about him. Because
guess who else is dangerous? DJ Chalk is on that team.
I know it.
That's your other dangerous receiver. Because if you shut Ladd down, who gonna stop DJ Chalk?
Oh, I know
it. I guarantee you this. AJ still having nightmares about that national championship game with Chalk on.
And then, if you stop both of them, who gonna stop Herbert? Because don't forget, he got legs too now. You gotta watch for that, because Herbert will get out that pocket on you quick.
You gotta put a spy. You gotta put a spy on Herbert. Dobbins is not gonna play, but I think Gus Edwards and Jared Patterson are going to be vital for these guys, and they're solid players. But the problem is we have to be able to tackle. And the issue is we have not been able to tackle at all. And the one thing I got to give Jim Harbaugh is this. Harbaugh understands how to run the ball, and not just run the ball. All I can say is he's the guy that knows how to scheme everything perfectly at this point. And he's been doing it for a minute. He came in he can't, you look at him, San Diego State, Stanford, then the 49ers, then he goes to Michigan and wins the championship last year. And now he's with the Chargers. The one thing about Jim Harbaugh is this. He is the concept of his offense is simple but effective. And when I say simple, he doesn't have it as complicated as you would think. He's going to run the ball. He's going to throw the ball. But the thing is, he keeps it simple for his athletes to do what they need to do. And that's something that a lot of coordinators don't understand.
But then
that's the reason he wins.
But then he going to understand us anyway, because when you really think about it, both of them came out the same tree to a certain degree anyway.
Well, remember, Jim Harbaugh literally was different, man. And, he comes up from a dad that was a coach, and then after that, he played for Mike Ditka. He played for a couple of coaches. But again, that personality, that hard personality that he has, that's Mike Ditka right there. That is what that is.
And he ain't finna give you nothing. And that's why I want them to come in with a win attitude, because this ain't a gimme game. Like, this ain't one of them coaches that's going to give you, like some coaches, you see the team and the coach, fold, but this ain't one of them teams, is basically what I'm saying. You're not going to see this team and their coach fold.
But here's the other thing. He was one of the coaches that we interviewed, but they didn't give him much interest. And I'm sitting back thinking, you really not going to get this man no shot?
I don't think he wanted to be here anyway. I think he was destined, because see, we didn't have a quarterback at the time, and they did. And I do remember him. He want to go somewhere where they had a quarterback. I do remember him saying that he don't want to be on that quarterback carousel. And we were with Desmond Ritter at that point. And that it was gonna be hard for any head coach to want this position with these quarterbacks we had. So I understand it. But in the same token, you can't let your nepotism mess up a golden opportunity because you may never get another one. So if you get a second chance to strike, you need to go on and go all in and let him know you ain't got to fire him. Just tell him he the assistant now and make Jared Griffin to call the plays.
And if your feelings get hurt for you being demoted, guess what? You need to find another place of employment. Hopefully this don't taint our friendship, but guess what? I got a job to do.
But for the rest of the season, you can keep your title. We just gonna let someone else call the plays.
And if you got a problem with that, if you got a problem with that, that means we need to have a discussion on what your future employment is going to be with us.
Yeah.
That's how that goes. So I want to thank you for coming through, bro. Appreciate you. You know, I know you got to get ready for the game just like I do and the fans here. I got that halftime report coming for you guys. And then we also got the post-game show, the party line or the benediction. I'd like for us to have a party line. I'm not making a prediction with this. I believe the Falcons can win this game, as I said on the show, but I'm not going to make a prediction because, again, we got to see who shows up in that stadium today.
I can't make no more predictions.
No, at this point of the season, with as up and down as they've been, I'll give score predictions, but I'm not going to say if they're going to win or not. Can't do it. I believe they can win. So let me make sure I put this out here so I don't have to hear, oh, well, you gave up on them. No. I believe that they can win, but the problem is the consistency that brings in the doubt. That is the problem. And it's not just the players. It's from the coaching, and now it's starting to trickle over to Terry now a little bit because some of the moves that he's made has affected us. A lot of y'all love Bijan Robinson. Definitely a great player. Definitely has been awesome. But we can't stop the damn run.
But you know what would have been nasty about this too, Ryan, at the same time, for real? Mm-hmm. We could have had Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and Jared Verse. We could have had all three of them.
And don't forget about Brian Murphy either.
And Brian. We could have had all four of them on our defense right now, literally.
And we'd have had a defensive line that would have been as young.
And we could have got, and we
and
still
learned from Brady.
And we still could have got Kurt and just went and got Shador coming out this year. So it still would have all played out. Because really,
I'm good on Shador.
Philly wanted Bijan.
Listen, I'm good on Shador. Look, he can play. I don't want him in Atlanta. I'm sorry. I'm just
what, the attitude?
No, I don't care about that. You swagged up, that's you. But it's just the fact that you hold on to the ball too long for me.
Yeah.
And you try to do too much. So I hope he does well wherever he goes. I'm good with Penix.
Oh no, I'm just saying what you could have had if you got
but
defense,
I wouldn't want him. But here's the thing, I wouldn't want him. A lot of people are, you hate no. Let's just be honest, dog.
No, you entitled to your opinion. Yeah.
No, I'm not saying you, but there's been a lot of folks trying to give me grief about it. I think Shador is a hell of a player. But with what we do here and the way this offensive line is, he's played behind a bad O-line already in college. He's already played with that majority of his career. I don't want that coming here to Atlanta because if you ever notice, he pout a lot. When stuff don't go his way, he pout. Pay attention.
Oh, yeah.
And my thing is this. I cannot have my quarterback pout. If stuff don't go right, all right, you can show some emotion, shake it off. But you pout when stuff go wrong. Hey, man, I don't want nobody in the foxhole like that. You can be mad. You can be frustrated. I'm cool with that. But pouting? Nah, man.
Because we already got somebody that pout. We already got somebody that pout right now. So
yeah, he went number 8.
Yeah, I'm already knowing.
But we ain't finna slander these boys, man. We gonna get behind them. Hey, Rich, man, hopefully we see you on the post-game show today.
Oh, yeah.
If you ain't too busy, my guy. Hey, so we thank y'all for coming through. Y'all enjoy this ball game coming up, and I'll see you guys at halftime. You either get right or you get left. Hit that button on the way out, please. That like and that subscribe button for your boy. So y'all have a blessed one. Hope y'all enjoyed y'all holidays. Let's get to this game. Ghost.